Hello, everybody. My name is Marisol, and this is the world of testing.
So let's get this started. As the name says, this episode is mostly focused on the twins, but we are also going to focus on Junior. So this is a Mitchell siblings episode, and here we are we are given the chance to get to know more about these three characters. So um, this episode starts with Junior taking his date home and finding out that in the same neighborhood there is a haunted house and it is haunted by a ghost. Um, I don't know what your feelings are about ghosts. I don't like them, of course. But back then, when I wrote this episode, there was a show about ghosts that we are going to talk about that later in this episode. But just to let you know that my inspiration came from that episode. I don't remember quite well, but probably I was watching this episode and then I thought, okay, let's have a ghost here. And so because I used to watch this show a lot back then. So back to the episode. He finds out that this house is haunted by a ghost, and obviously, has any other Warren, Junior wants to help, help those in need. And this is what's going to happen. He's going to try to help these people, especially the ghost, because if a ghost is trapped into this world without being able to move forward, it's because something is keeping him or her here. So of course, it needs help. And in this case, we are going to find out that this ghost is not as bad as has many ghosts out there. So yeah, okay. After the scene where we see Junior taking his date home and finding the ghost, we move to Act One. And what happens here? In here happens that we have a scene with Jackson and Brew, and we learn that they have become official now. So yes, Brew is dating Jackson, Jackson is dating Brew, and they are happy with each other. Or I think that's what we thought. But we are going to see how this relationship grows, and well, I can say that by the end of the episode they grow closer than they were in the beginning of the episode. Okay, so next we have the twins scene where we learn that these two girls, they have the same face, and this sounds like something said from a telenovela, but they have the same face, but they are so different. They are so different. They both want to have um, different personalities. They both want a life apart from each other. Um, and this is a feeling that it's more it is more notorious when it comes to Tamara. She is the one who doesn't want to be confused with her sister all the time. This is one of the reasons why Tamara is blonde and Pandora is not. Tamara dyed her hair magically, and we're gonna see that in future episodes. But she dyed her hair blonde when she was a teenager because she wanted a personality of her own. She was tired of people telling them that they look alike. So yeah, that she wanted to have her own personality, and that's why one is blonde and the other one is brunette. Another thing that I can say about this is that this the inspiration for one being blonde and the other one being brunette is that um, it comes from me, because I was born with brown hair, but I like to dye it to blonde often. So yeah, the inspiration came from here. So it's like if you follow me on social media, you'll see that I look very different, like a brown hair or blonde hair. So yeah, this is the inspiration to for them to be so to have different hair color. So yeah, we witness the fight over piece of clothes, and this is where when we learn that there is this difference, this thing between them. We haven't noticed that before in previous episodes, but it's more clear in this episode, and this of course will bring troubles because Tamara, I think I have mentioned this before, but Tamara is kind of the responsible twin. While Pandora is okay, she's not. She's responsible too, but Pandora, it's more like she. It's kind of okay. Let's try to solve this, and what's the easiest way to do that is using magic. So she doesn't think twice when it comes to use magic, and she's for personal games, so personal gain. So she's more irresponsible when it comes to that, and Tamara is the more rational twin. So yeah, moving forward, we have a scene between Prue and Wyatt. They meet in Halliwell Manor, and Wyatt sounds a bit of sarcastic with Prue, commenting about her new relationship. We're gonna see more of that in this episode and future episodes, because um, obviously Wyatt is jealous. Yes. If you haven't noticed, in previous episodes, Wyatt is the one who probably, I don't know, shows more um, his feelings about Prue. Not in the he doesn't show it like, okay, I love you and this is it. No, he is jealous, and he can hide it. So it is clear, for those who witness their fights, that there is something there. Of course, the family doesn't notice because that they are not expecting for Wyatt to be in love with Prue. They are cousins, so it is not like that. They think it's because they are both the eldest, so they both want to lead. So that's why it is not clear to most of the family members what's going on between Wyatt and Prue. Of course, this doesn't apply to Chris, and we will see this in future episodes, because Chris is more open to see what's really going on between these two. So yes. Um, Another thing about I forgot to mention about this is that I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Tamara and Pandora, they were their powers were bound when they were babies. And this is the thing between them two. The fight between these two sisters is the reason why Paige kept them without their active powers for so long, because they only got um, the powers back. The Paige only unbind the powers when they were teenagers, And we will see that the twins' powers. I mean, if I remember correctly, Tamara is telekinetic orbing, and Pandora has the power of invisibility. Um, but they have other powers which haven't manifest yet at this point of the season. They will manifest later in Destin, but not yet because they spent so long without these powers I'm talking about, that it's kind of dormant for them. So only in future seasons is when they are going to start using these powers. Okay, back to the scene where Wyatt and Prue meet. There's also Piper. She shows up after Prue says that nothing is going to blow up her date for that night with Jackson. And Piper comes up and she says, "Don't say that. When someone says that, something always happens." And yeah, this it's a reference to horror movies where people say something and like there's another one like, okay, don't say that because the person who says that is the next to die. So yeah, this is kind of a reference to that. And then we have Junior. Junior shows up asking for help to find out more about the ghosts and how to get rid of them and all that stuff. And Junior goes ahead of Wyatt goes ahead of Prue, and he offers himself to help Junior. This is mostly to piece of Prue, mostly, because Prue was ready to, to oh, let me help, and Wyatt says, no, 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 let me do this, go and get um get yourself ready to for tonight's date, and I'll do this, I'll take care of this. And this was mostly to piece of Prue, but yeah, just this is the dynamic between those two. So what can we do? It's funny this way. Then we meet Pandora's boss, who shares with Pandora that she's having problems with her sons, which they are twins as well. So yes, Pandora finds out that they are having fights, and she wants to help, because she's so mad at her sister that she wants to help these twins to stop fighting, and she casts a spell to try to help um, her boss with her kids. But obviously, this thing is like, a mirror reflection. When she tries to help her boss's kids, she's actually reflecting her own frustration about her relationship with her sister. And when she casts the spell obviously rebounds. And this causes that, when she casts the spell, she says something like, to make them close. And what ends up happening is that she gets really close to her sister, but not in not but in a physical way, because Tamora is gets stuck to Pandora, like, you know one body, two people, that kind of thing. It's a little creepy if you think about it, but yes, they become just like one, because this the spell rebound on them. So yeah, well done, Pandora, well done. And then we have a scene between Prue and Melinda, where they are shopping, trying to find a good dress for Prue to wear in her date that night. And we learn that Prue had a boyfriend before. They ended up the relationship like a year and a half prior to this episode, 2 years maybe. And we listened to this name for the first time. We learn about Eric for the first time. Eric is a character that's going to show up in the future, and he's going to be important for Destin. And so yes, we learn about Eric in this very moment. We also see Joyce, who is someone that Wyatt asks on a date. I mean, it's not like Wyatt likes this girl, but he's trying to, like Bruce is having is dating. So yeah, why not? He does it mostly to piss off Prue. And he doesn't know this. He doesn't know. He is not aware of what he's doing. But this is what he's doing. He's actually trying to get Prue is dating, so I can date too. But it's not because he likes Joyce. And this is the only scene where we meet Joyce. We want to hear about her later. But she's not important. He only agrees to go out with her because to somehow piss off Prue. And yeah, love, love, love. But yeah, so moving forward, Chris. Chris is, in the underworld, hunting demons, fighting demons. And this is something that he does for one reason and one reason only. It's not because of his obsession about demons. No. This is like an escape for his own problems. And we'll know what is keeping Chris like this, So Wyatt phones Chris, and there is something curious in here, because Chris kind of Wyatt questions Chris about his whereabouts, and Chris uses the word hell to describe where he is. Um, Curiously, this term hell will be used again, but to describe another place. We will find out that there is this underworld, but in season 6, and we'll get to that later, we learn that there is another underworld. It is another underworld that is worse than this one we know. And the name of this other underworld, it's hell, exactly. So it is funny. I didn't notice this back then because obviously I didn't know what I was going to do in season 6. But it is curious how Chris describes the underworld as hell, and then later we'll find out that there is another place, another underworld that is also that is named hell, actually. So this is a funny thing, and I thought it was funny when I was rereading this episode to find out these connections. And of course I didn't know I was going to take us to Hades war in season 6. So yeah. So yes, Chris is in the underworld trying to, fighting some demons. And we find out that he's actually doing that to take his mind out of his own problems. We learned that Chris has a girlfriend in this episode, and his girlfriend is a mortal who knows nothing about magic. Um, Chris has been dating Andrea for years, um, and she knows nothing about magic. But then, when they start dating, um, demons were no when showing up often, so they were not a problem. But now they have regained power. They are showing up more often, and of course, Chris is worried about that because Andrea knows nothing about magic, and he's worried about she finding out about his true identity. And of course, it worries him, and to take his mind out of his own problems, it's the way he uses is to go hunt demons. It's not for fun. It's not because he wants to okay, yeah, he wants to end demons, obviously he do, but he does, but the real reason is to take his mind out of his own problems. So yes, moving forward, the twins go to ask for Melinda and Bruce's help to undo the mess Pandora got them into. So and obviously Prue and Melinda try to help, and they use a reverse spell to undo what was caused by Pandora's spell. But this reverse spell doesn't work. And why is that? Because obviously those twins had problems. So, the best way to, when you have something with, when you have an issue with another person, the best way to get through that is to talk, no fighting, as we all should know. Um, so this is why the spells they use and the potions they use won't work, because when you have a problem with someone, you just have to talk with that person, to solve that, and the best way is to talk. Um, because obviously that's what take us to make pieces with the other person. It's not fighting, it's not trying um to get the best out of the other person. No, it's to talk, to try to reach a common ground. And this is why the spells won't work. This is why the potions won't work, because the real issue has to be talk between them. They have to um, realize that what they're doing is wrong. Neither of them are right, both are wrong, and they have to reach that conclusion by themselves. And this is why nothing else works when Melinda and Prue try to help them. So yes, in here we also find out that they don't want Paige to to know what's going on. I mean, they are adults, of course, but Paige is the mother, and obviously she has a word to say when it comes to them being irresponsible. So yes. So the twins don't want Paige finding out about what's going on, but suddenly everybody else starts finding out. Wyatt shows up. Okay, the twins and Prue and Melinda go to the Halliwell Manor to trying to find a solution for this. And Wyatt shows up, and then Junior shows up because they are, dealing with the ghost thing. And here, of course, they ask them not to tell anything, just because Paige can know about this. And yes, so when Junior tells his sisters what's going on, Pandora makes the reference to the show I talked about before, Ghost Whisperer. Yes, that's the show that I was watching back then when I start writing season one, and especially this episode. I don't remember quite well, but I think I probably just watched the one of the this show's episode, and that's why I make this reference, because Pandora says something like, "Oh, are you going to help the ghost to find the light?" And well, he obviously doesn't know what she means, but they mentioned that Paige was a fan of this episode. They also mentioned Melinda Gordon's name, so yeah, I think this is a funny reference, because it's like they live in this world we live, in the Destined universe is located in our own universe. So I wanted to to have this reference to real things, and I do that a few times in here. This is not going to be the first time. It is going to happen also in episode 6, 106, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, this is going to happen a few times through all the series, because I want to to feel like they are part of our own world. So yeah, this is why. And then we head back to Wyatt and Prue again. And again, they are fighting. What else is new, right? And Prue, Wyatt says that he's going to have a date the night too. And Prue mentions that Wyatt hasn't been dating much lately. And okay, let's get this straight. Wyatt is not a Don Juan has Junior. He's not, but he obviously dated a lot. Prue mentions like he used to show up with I think it's Prue, or someone else. I don't remember, but it's so many things in my head. But someone mentions that Wyatt used to show up with different girlfriend every week. It's not like that, it wasn't every week, that is Junior. But yes, Wyatt used to date a lot. Curiously, we will only know one of Wyatt's girlfriend in season 2, that is Melissa. We'll talk about her when we get to season 2. But yes, I think it's after Melissa that he obviously had a few dates, but it's not like, okay, a different every week. No, no, no. That is Junior, but yeah, of course, this was said to kind of to piece of Wyatt, but I think it wasn't Prue who said this. I think it was probably Junior, maybe. I don't know. I don't quite remember. I read this the other day, I swear, but I don't remember who said this, because it's so many things in my head. But yeah, just make sure. Junior is the Don Juan. Wyatt has dated a lot, of course, and Chris is probably the out of the three, the the more the one who doesn't have a long list of girlfriends. Chris is more like, you know the one who only wants what's real, and doesn't want to just pick, if you know what I mean. Okay, so let's still in this scene, we see Prue, while they are in the attic. We see Prue trying to use some sort of telekinetic orbing. But of course she can't orb, so she can have that power, but she's a cupid, and therefore she can beam. And cupids have this power called telekinetic beaming. But curiously, Prue and her sisters never were able to display this power, and white letters and telekinetic orbing. So she is kind of trying to do that, to use her beaming and telekinesis power combined. And but it doesn't work. It doesn't work yet, but it will work in the future. But yeah, she's trying to do that, and it's no it doesn't work because she's forcing the thing, and that things, when things are forced, they don't work exactly the way we want to. So yes, this is why it doesn't work. And then Chris shows up, and this is when we learn that Prue notice that Chris is not okay, and she goes to talk to Chris. And this is when he shares that he's worried because Andrea is coming back to town, and they again mention that Chris wants to know what he obviously doesn't know what to do. And Eric is mentioned again because Eric and Prue dated for a while, and Chris asks if Prue ever thought in telling Eric about her, her magic, that she was a witch and all that. And Prue tells Chris that she didn't, because and the proof that she wasn't supposed to reveal herself to Eric is that in the end the relationship ended, and she mentions that Eric and her weren't destined to each other. She uses that word. She uses the word destined. Back then she obviously didn't know, and that she wasn't meant to be with Eric. But curiously she uses that word, so she believes that she is destined to someone, but that someone wasn't Eric. Maybe Eric is meant for someone else. We'll see about that later, but at this point um she uses this word of course she didn't know back then that she was meant to be with someone else. She was destined to be with someone else. um so yeah, moving forward, we Wyatt shares with his brother and cousin Junior that he has regret um, agreeing in going out with Joyce. This is because the reason we talked about before. He doesn't feel anything about Joyce, and I think at this point he's starting to realize that his heart belongs to another, and this is why if he's reluctant to move on with his love life. And if you remember episode 1, okay, before we talk about that, when Wyatt hasn't dated anyone since this is a fact. He hasn't dated anyone since episode 1. Obviously before episode 1 he had dated, but um when the demon activity in Crisis, um he hasn't. So Why is this? And this is it's not mentioned in here, but just to be clear, this is what happens. His feelings change in episode one. A change. It's not like change, but he became more aware of things in episode one when little Prue says that she dreamed of him as her Prince Charming. This was like the click that Wyatt needed um, to to kind of change the way he was acting. Before episode one, he used to date a lot. After that, we don't see him dating anyone. We see him agreeing going out with Joyce, but of course, it's not because he wants to. So just to make this clear, this is what happened. Wyatt used to date a lot, and since the moment he learned that little Prue dream about him has her Prince Charming, um, he changed. It's not something like he is totally aware of, but it is that in there, in his subconscious. So yes, this is what happens in Wyatt's mind right now. This is what's just to make things clear. Back to the twins. They talk, of course. In the meantime, they are trying to find out what to do, how to help the twins, and all with the problem. And they talk about Prue's sex life. Yeah, of course. They are young adults, and sex is part of life. So okay, they talk about that, and they mentioned that the twins get to know that Prue hasn't have sex with Jackson. Of course, you know it's Jackson. They are amazed how that's possible. But the truth is that in the girls talk about that Prue hasn't had anyone since Eric, and that is why, because Prue is not the dating girl. She's of course she dates. She had dates, obviously, but it's not like she goes to bed with anyone. So yeah, and of course she had a long relationship with Eric, and she's kind afraid to take things to the next level with Jackson. But of course that's going to change because it's Jackson. So yeah. Well, moving forward, this was just, you know, to clarify this. Um, we know that the twins don't want to Paige to find out what's going on, but of course, Paige finds out, and Paige shows up and finds out what's going on, and she's mad. Obviously, she's mad at her daughters for creating chaos again. So and doing this kind of things, and of course mad. But she tries to help and wants her daughters to be unstuck from each other. But she also gets mad at Prue and Melinda for not telling her what's going on. And in here, we have after this we have small talk between Prue and Paige, because Prue is trying to combine her telekinetic power with beaming, and she asks for Paige's advice, and Prue mentions what she wants to do, right? And she reveals that she wants to do something like it because she remembers when they were little, that Paige used to do some tricks with lights, and she wants to do the same, maybe to create a romantic, scenario in her date with Jackson. And this is a reference to season 7 of Charm, when when Paige has a date with Kyle, where she kind of uses her power to orb some lights, and yeah, and this is a reference. So I thought it was funny to actually, I think it's funny to have this Charm reference in Destin, so yeah. Okay, moving forward, the boys are going to I don't want to use the word fight, because they won't fight. I mean, they will. Yeah, but they will try to help Jonathan, which is who is the ghost, and curiously, Jonathan ends up possessing Chris's body. Why Chris? Because, as I mentioned before, Chris is, out of the three boys, he's the one who is having some kind of problem in that moment. And so he Jonathan feels that Chris is the most vulnerable of the three, and that's why he possesses Chris, and not Wyatt or Junior. And then, yeah, we have the scene where they try to fight this ghost, but at the same time they try to make him realize that he has to move on. The nephew appears and obviously finds out that ghosts are real. And in the end, it all ends well. They are able to make Jonathan move forward and follow the light. And yes, and they succeed. Now back to the twins. um they fight again, because they do all the time, but they are called to the attention that they shouldn't done that, and doing that is what got them into that mess. So they finally realize where the problem is, and they try to solve things, and get along, talk about what's going on, and yeah, magically they are unstuck and back to normal. And so yes, the reason they found out that the reason why the spell rebound is because of what was happening between them. And like I mentioned before, when Pandora looked at her boss's kids, she was like seeing herself and her sister, and that's why the spell rebound. So yeah, yeah, it's solved. That situation is solved. And then we see Chris dragging Junior to the underworld, because Chris is still trying to find and vanquish those demons, and the two of them succeed and vanquish the demons finally. Um, and yeah, Wyatt. We know that Wyatt regrets to agreeing in going out with Joyce, but in the end of the day, he goes. He meets Joyce in P3, and they have that date. But as I mentioned before, this is time thing. It's not going to happen again. I didn't thought that um, a full person was needed into this drama between Wyatt and Prue. So yes, he goes out with Joyce, but it's just that it doesn't go further. And well, Prue and Jackson have a dinner date together, and well, it ends here. but we assume that more it's going to happen, and we will find out what in the next episode. And so, but yeah, it's I mean, we are not blind. We know what happens. But yeah, this is it. This is episode 4, and it was a funny episode to write. And probably, no, it's not my favorite from season 1, but it's one of my favorites. The twins at this point are like, it's a fresh air, in the middle of the drama. And things obviously will get more serious for them in future seasons, but in season 1 they are like, they are the light one, their issues are no as heavier, has, others, has, what Chris will go through, what Wyatt and Prue will go through. So yeah, they are the fresh air of the 9 of them. So yes, guys, this is it. This is the end of another episode of the War of Destin. Um, I'm sorry for there's so many arms, but it is just like, the arm is like, I'm thinking. Um, again. But yeah, thank you for being there. Thank you for listening. And I hope to see you in the next episode. Please do leave comments. Like, the in YouTube, subscribe in YouTube and Spotify. And you know that you can send your questions to my email, if you go to the Destin page. You can leave the questions there. You don't need to PM me, but if you want, of course, you can, or DM me on Instagram. You can do that. So, of course. And well, thank you, and see you next time in another episode of the War of Destin. Bless be.